Hello anybody, and thanks for tuning in to Monday Morning Handicapping. This is betting on horse racing, the next video, and I'm going to be going over the exacta bet. So just a quick introduction. This is a new playlist where I'm going to define each bet and share my key factors when placing such bets. This playlist came about through a request or some comments on YouTube I got. They were asking, how do I place superfecta wagers and what does my construction of my tickets look like? So I thought that I would just go back and explain all the bets and what I look for when I'm placing each one of these bets. Again, this is going to be a redundant playlist for some people that are more experienced horse players, just like my How to Read a Racing Form playlist. I'm really trying to reach a new audience, a new group of people that are curious about horse racing and want to learn more about it. So this whole playlist is just talking about the bets, what they are, and in the second half I'm going to go over what I look for when I'm placing each one of these bets and when I play them. So in this, I'm going to go over what is the exacta bet. We'll do a definition, the basic structure, some more advanced structures, and also how to calculate the cost because these tickets can get pricey the more horses you add on to your bets, but we'll get into that later. And my exacta ticket construction in various scenarios. Of course, once all your handicapping is said and done, when I use the favorite, when I don't use the favorite, or when I don't use the favorite on top or in first place. And then we'll cover some exacta boxing as well. So what is the exacta bet? The exacta bet requires the player to choose the horses that will finish in first place and second place in a single race. These types of bets increase the payout from win bets alone for the same base amount. So $1 exacta is more often than not, 99% of the time, going to pay more than a $1 win bet on the horse that does end up winning the race. The exacta is one of several vertical bets that allows the player to parlay multiple horses in a single race, and this is what increases those payoffs. You're basically parlaying multiple horses in one single race, and when you're doing that, it's considered a vertical bet. So multiple horses in one race is a vertical bet. There's exacta bets, trifectas, superfectas, high fives. We'll get into that later. Horizontal bets would be multiple races, which may or may not include multiple horses per race. So say a pick three, or let's just use a double. A double is the winner of this race and the following race. So the basic structure of an exacta bet, for the sake of simplicity, the horses are obviously numbered, but let's just consider the one horse, the lowest odds, say even money, 1-1. The two horse will be the next highest odds, so 2-1. The three horse will be considered 3-1, and so on and so forth. Just so as I'm explaining this, you can tell which scenarios I like more, and I'll explain why I like using longer shots in certain spots and the favorites in others. So the basic structure, looking at A, and the first slot is first place finishers. And the second spot is the second place finisher. So in the first place finishing, we have the one horse. The slash is also known as with. So the one horse in first with the two horse in second. This would be a multiplying effect of 1 because there's only one possible combination. So if you did a $1 exacta, 1 with 2, it would cost you $1 because you're only betting on one combination. That's one horse times one other horse in second. Another basic structure, look at B. We have the one horse in first. That's the only horse we think is going to win the race, with the two or the three horse in second place. So you're paying for two combinations, or multiply your bet times 2, because you can have the one in first with the 2 in second, or the one in first with the 3 in second. So if you do a $5 exacta, 1 with 2, 3, it's going to cost you $10 total, $5 per each combination. So that's one horse times two horses. Say we like the top three horses, 1, 2, 3, and you want to exacta box them. Boxing means those three horses in any order. So you have a combination of 1 with 2, 1 with 3, or 2 in the first place, 2 with 1, 2 with 3 in the second place. Or the three horse in first, 3 with 1 in the second place, or 3 with 2 in the second place. You add up all those different combinations, that's a multiplier of 6. So a $1 exacta box with 3 horses is a multiplier of 6. 3 horses times 2 other possible horses in second, because obviously if the one wins, the one can't come in second. So a basic formula over here is n. N would be the total number of horses you picked times n minus 1, because you have to take out the horse that wins, because your horse also can't run second. So you take that one out. So how many horses minus 1, you multiply those together, and that's going to be your multiplying effect. You can also do a 4-horse exacta box. The 1 horse, the 2 horse, the 3 horse, and the 4 horse. That's a multiplier of 12 because you have 1 in first with 2 in second, or the 3 in second, or the 4 in second. So for each horse, there are 3 possible outcomes for the second place runner. 4 horses times 3 horses, or that n times n minus 1. So 4 for this n here times 4 minus 1, because whatever horse wins can't run in second, so you'd multiply it by all the horses minus the horse that won. So that's basically how you calculate how much more your bet is going to cost based on how you lay your exactas or your exacta boxes. You could lay your exacta box the same way as the A and B exactas, so you could lay them one with 2 in a single ticket, one with 3 in a single ticket, one with 4 in a single ticket, and it would take you 12 single tickets to get the same outcome. Now you can weight them differently, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the advanced structure. So the advanced structure might look something like this. Say, and again, this is after you've done all your handicapping, you have a good idea of who's going to win, or at least who you like to run second. So you can actually take 2 horses in the first place slot, so the 1 horse or the 2 horse to win, followed by the 1 horse, the 2 horse, the 3, or the 4 in second. So if the 1 wins, you can get the 2, 3, or 4 horse in second, and that wins your exacta. Or the 2 horse wins, you can have the 1, 3, or 4 to come in second, and that would also be a winning exacta. This type of structure, known as 2 by 4, if you're using the same horses in first place as second, it will be a multiplier of 6. Both horses in the win position are also in the second. So again, that n minus 1 formula, if one of your top horses here wins, you take them out of the second part because they obviously can't come in first and second. Another structure is what we call a back wheel. You can have 3 horses to win first place, the 1, 2, or 3 in first, with only the 4 in second. So after all your handicapping, for whatever reason, you come up with the idea that the 4 horse is going to run second, but there are a few contenders that might beat this horse to the finish line. You'd be surprised how often this happens. I'm sure many of you experienced horse players are familiar with this kind of bet. And I wanted to emphasize back wheel your win bet. So again, like I said, the 1 is the shortest odds, 2 is the next longest, 3 is the next longest, so on, just for the sake of simplicity in this video. If you like the 4 horse and say it's 7-1 odds, a lot of people will put, say, a $5 win bet on the 4 to win the race in hopes to profit $35. But they might also back wheel in an exacta that 4 horse to run second. So if their win bet gets really close to winning but ends up losing, maybe in a photo finish, run second, if you take the other contenders that you think can beat your horse over the top of your horse that you bet to win in second, you can hit the exacta that way, and it could pay nicely, especially if the horse you're back wheeling, the 4 in this case, is decent odds. That exacta might pay the same as what you would have got back on your win bet alone. So some people like to do this. You're putting up more money, but if your horse runs first or second, you might be covered as long as the horses that you put in first place beat out your 4 horse if your 4 runs a close second or a second by any margin. Another structure of exactas would be 1 or the 2 with the 3 or the 4. So this is different horses in the win and second position. Say you're handicapping and you see the 1 and the 2 are all out front runners, but you think one of them's going to hang on, and the 3 or 4 are somewhat stalking types, and you think one of these horses has to give. So I think one of these horses is going to go to the lead, duel with the other horse. One of them's going to end up fading, and the 3 or the 4 are going to pass one of those fading horses. This would be a multiplier of 4 because you have the 1 with the 3, the 1 with the 4, or the 2 with the 3, or the 2 with the 4. 4 different combinations total. So again, this is all goes back to handicapping. You want to construct your exacta tickets based on your handicapping. How you think the race is going to shape up, what's going to happen late in the race, the contenders, who are the win contenders, who can clunk up for second, so on and so forth. Key considerations for placing exacta bets. If I love the favorite in the race, I generally like to play the exacta like a win bet if I feel strongly about the runner-up. I consider it kind of like a glamorized win bet. If I handicap the race and I have one standout winner that I just like to win, I don't really think any other horses are in serious contention, I see a horse that looks good but just won't beat my top pick, I will do a straight exacta, the 1 with the 2, if those are my top choices in that order, and then pretty much play it like a win bet because I don't see any other contenders running first or second, and I like them strongly in that order. I probably would not play an exacta 1 with 2, 3. Again, using the lowest number horse as the lowest odds, going up in odds as the number horse goes up, again for simplicity. I would not play a 1 with 2, 3. If 2 and 3 were the second and third choice, for the sake of this video, they are, because you're just doubling the cost at that point. And when you're betting the favorites, it's probably not going to be a tremendous payoff, and you're paying times 2 because the 1 with 2 or the 1 with 3 for any exacta combination. It probably will be profitable if it hits, but the ROI, the return on your investment, taking such short price horses, it's not going to pay fantastically. And if the bet just doesn't win entirely, you paid twice the cost for a relatively low return on investment. So I typically don't just go favorite over the second and third choice in my exactas. However, if I say I want to spend $5 in an exacta, if one of my runner-ups that I think can run second are a long shot, I might place two separate exactas. The one even money favorite with the second choice in second, if I think that's a strong possibility of happening, for $3. And then I might play a $2 straight exacta, the one with the 5. Again, the higher number horse in this video are the longer odds, so fifth choice, this 5 could be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to 1 odds. I would guess that this 1-5 exacta for $2 would pay more than the $3 exacta, one with the two short priced horses. Every track you can see what the probable will pays are, especially if you're betting from your phone or PC. But on the track, they will show will pays. If you have the one horse in front with the 2 in second or the 5 in second, that they show you all that sort of information, so you can get a good gauge of what the exactas are paying at the track or on your personal computer or phone. But this is just one way to sort of weight your opinion. You could also do the 1-2 for $4 and the one with 5 for $1. You can mix and match, weight it based on your handicapping. How strong of a conviction do you have on these outcomes? If you really like the 1 over the 5, put all 5 on your exacta there. But if you think the 1 and the 2 is most likely, with a small chance of the 5 passing the 2 late, feel free to throw in a buck or two as a saver, just in case that 5 does get up at long odds. A lower price exacta will pay just as much, if not more, than the short price horses running 1-2. If my top pick is not the favorite, if I feel strongly about runner-ups, I will go 2 to 3 deep depending on the field size and prices. So for example, if I like the second choice horse or the 2 over the favorite or 6-8, a couple of long shots, I might play an exacta like this. Because in horse racing, anytime you can throw out the favorite, your return is going to be much greater, because in horse racing, you're playing against the other bettors. The longer odds horses that you have, generally the less money that is on them, especially in the exactas and trifectas. More people are going to have the lowest price horse in front, so if you can get longer shots to win with some longer shots in second, your payouts can go up exponentially. So if I did not have the favorite and I like the 2 the most, I would go 3 deep in second place, just because not having the favorite in first place is going to pay a lot more than the favorite winning the race. And especially if your runner-up horses are some of the longer shots in the field, then that can pay very well, getting the favorite out of the top 2 spots. Alternatively, you can split up your bet. Say you want to spend $5 on exactas, taking these horses above, you could do a $2 exacta, the second choice, or your top pick, 2 with the 1 in second. You could do $2, the 2 in first, with the 6 in second, with a $1 exacta, 2 with the 8. Assuming we like the 6 more than the 8, we're going to do it for $1 more than the 8. But just in case that 8 comes in at the longer odds and you kind of think it has a chance, that $1 exacta could pay $20 or more. The 6th longest odds horse that could pay for a $2 exacta instead of the $1 here could pay 20, 30, 40 or more. It just kind of depends on how many horses are in the field, how long of odds the horses are. The second choice horse could be 7 to 2 if the big favorite is 9 to 5. So pay attention to the odds. If the 1 and the 2 shortest horses are both, say 8 to 5 and 9 to 5, it's not going to pay a whole lot of different, but it will pay more. But this is just another example of how you can weight your exactas. If I dislike the favorite entirely, I may opt for a 3-horse exacta box, which is a multiplier of 6, preferably not the second, third, and fourth choice in the betting. Again, it kind of depends on the field, how many horses in the field, and what the betting is like, what the odds are like overall. But let's just say I like the 2, 4, and 6, and again, the 4 and the 6, a little bit longer odds. You exacta box them, you get the favorite out of the top 2 entirely, then your reward is going to go up exponentially. And you box them because if you think that they all have somewhat of an even chance of winning and you get the favorite out, the returns can be very handsome. Hoping for a longer shot can win, but if one of them runs second, the return should still be okay. So if it comes 6-4, that would be ideal. That $1 exacta could pay $100 maybe. If it comes 4-6, the 2 longest shots that you liked in the mix, that could pay, depending on the odds, $50 to $100. But if the shorter odds of your 3 choices wins with one of these longer shots in second, that'll still pay pretty well. So again, just Go through your handicapping, bet with your convictions what you really think is going to happen. Don't take a leap of faith unless you really did your homework, did the handicapping, and picture a scenario where these three runners could run top two. Overall takeaways, I'm going to do this in every video. Learn as much as you can before placing any wagers. Study, read, make picks without betting and see how it goes. Do your due diligence, familiarize yourself with handicapping, and see some positive results. So it's a tough game. It takes a long time to get good, to really see the patterns that work and that don't work. So I would advise any person that's interested in getting into the game, read books, read blogs, listen to podcasts, and make picks, and read the racing form and make picks without betting, and just before the race goes off, make your selection, make a scenario of how you think the race is going to go, and see what happens. And when you start to get close, hit a few winners, then feel free to open the wallet. Start small and start simple. Don't wager any money you can't afford to lose. Don't overcomplicate your wagers. If top pick is decent odds, consider a win bet along with an exacta in case your top pick wins but the exacta falls through. So this is the exacta video, so I thought I'd mention that. If you like a horse that's decent odds, 4-1, put a $2 on him to win. And if you're doing that exacta, go ahead and put a couple horses underneath. If your horse wins, but the horses you put in second place don't finish, at least you get that win bet. It should cover the cost of the exacta and feels good that your win bet was correct. There's many a times I do an exacta with a nice price horse and I'm trying to really capitalize on it. I don't blame myself, but sometimes your horse wins, but something funky happens and you don't hit that second place finisher and you have nothing to show for it. So if you have a horse that's decent odds that you like on top, just make sure to have a small win bet on him, especially if you're doing any sort of exacta bets. Bet primarily based on your handicapping. Don't make last second changes. This happens a lot where I'll spend a couple nights handicapping a card and for whatever reason I make a change last second. Maybe there's a jockey change, maybe I perceive a track bias. Make your picks and stick with them. Nothing worse than making a pick, then you see someone on the screen really pump up a horse and then you change your bet last second only to see your original pick win, and all that time handicapping goes down the drain. If you bet your own horse and it doesn't win, you have only yourself to blame. You can go back in your racing form, look at what you like, look at the parts that you like, and see why maybe that didn't actually pay off today. I've done videos about that, going back and looking at horses that didn't win that I liked and trying to come up with reasons why they didn't run as thought as I would. And that leads me to have convictions in your selections and structure. Do your handicapping, do your due diligence, and when you place a bet, place it in accordance with how you see the race going. If you picture it a certain way, bet accordingly. Don't add horses that you don't think can win just because you don't want to miss out. Just bet how you see the race and go from there. And lastly, don't expect to win or make money with horse racing. Keep it fun, have your limits, and get rewarded for your educated guesses. You need to enjoy the handicapping process and really know what you're looking at. And this is something that you will get better with over time if you stick to it. It takes a long time to get good. There's a lot of information. We're just touching on the most basic bets, but there's so much that goes into handicapping. So just as you get into it, don't expect to win or make money. Have fun. Enjoy the process. Be willing to learn from anybody and everybody and everything that you can get your hands on, everything you can read online, experience, etc. The way I consider it is I'm going to spend $200 going to a baseball game with tickets, parking, food, drink. So consider any gambling money just the cost of admission, and don't take it too seriously. Have fun. Get a little creative with your bets, but keep it simple at the same time. If you come up with a particular angle for why a horse should win, make sure it's sound reasoning and feel free to back your opinion. Consider the money just the cost of admission, and instead of spending a couple $100 on a baseball game with no chance of return, you take 50 or $100 to the track with a chance of return. But if you enjoy it along the way, that $50, just consider it the cost of a ticket to any other sporting event. But that's about it for the exactas and my overall takeaways, how I like to play them. I hope it made sense to some of the newer audience. If not, let me know if I need to slow it down or explain things a little more thoroughly. But that was it, and I appreciate everyone watching. Hit like, subscribe, share with friends, especially those newcomers to the game, and I will see you all next time. Thanks.